Well, hello, and welcome to What Crappens, a podcast for all the crap we love to talk about on you brovs. I'm Ronnie. That's Ben. Hi, Ben.
Hi, Ronnie. How's it going?
Good. Welcome to your show. How do you feel about it?
Oh, my goodness. I am so thrilled. How do you feel about it?
Good. I'm doing waddle exercises.
Oh, good.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. We're in New York City because Saturday night is the Golden Crappies on Broadway. So we're super excited. We're also going to be doing Watch What Happens Live. We'll be the bartenders this Thursday night after Southern Charm, featuring Miss Patricia Austal and Madison Austin. So we're super excited about that. So check that out. Also, guess what other news? We're going to be in Salt Lake City and Denver the following week. We're going on like a 17, I don't know, probably more. We'll probably add more city tour. So go check out dates over at watchwhatcrappens.com and come see us. You know what? Because it's only fun if you're there. If you're not there, I don't even want to do it. Also, we're doing traders recaps. Those are over on Patreon, as well as videos, which you can see right now. You can watch me exercising my waddle, which doesn't really seem to work, just in case anybody was thinking of wasting their fucking day on that. And then what's the other thing, Ben? I think that's it, right?
I think so. Just crappies. Vote. Get your streaming tickets. All that fun stuff.
Is there anyone who wants to offer teleprompter services for the crappies on Saturday night? If there's a professional teleprompter person, we'd love to see you. Because guess what? My old ass brain can't remember anything. Okay, I can't remember anything.
The key word is for free, because whoa, my voice got real crazy there. The key word is for free, because otherwise,
free teleprompter, sir. Hey, even if it's holding up poster boards, with our words, like in the old days.
Yeah. Yeah, we are really excited for this show. There's gonna be so much that we're doing, and yeah, it's gonna be a real thrill.
It's going to be a real thrill. You know what? Like this season finale of Below Deck Sailing Yacht, okay? It's called Season 516, The Bitter End. Ooh.
Yeah.
So previously this season, Daisy got really frustrated. Danny, used to be chubby, and then she was a cheerleader and redeemed herself in her own mind because she lost weight. And now she just wants a guy. Any guy, really. Yeah. Really any guy. And
it's appropriate.
Diana worked for oligarchs in the Russian seas, in the seas of Russia.
Yeah, Black Seas, maybe somewhere.
Black Sea, and it was just a great time.
Sea. Yeah. It was it's actually a very fun season, which you wouldn't know from this last episode, but it was a very fun season. So where we left off as a cliffhanger for some reason that no one can explain. The cliffhanger was that Danny and Chase, who've known each other for about 3 episodes on the show, have had like a little quarrel because she wants to keep dating him after the show, and he's like, I've only known you for 3 episodes of Below Deck time. And then Daisy's like, Danny, get to work. So we come back with that.
More importantly, she's upset because he did date Alicia, the chef.
Yeah.
And he went to Australia to see her, but now he's not willing to go to Australia to see Danny. So she's like, What's the difference between her and me? I mean, food. You know what I mean? Food. Alicia was a chef, so I would travel for lunch. It's sad when a man will travel for a decent meal, but not for you. But you know what? That's the situation you've gotten yourself into. The same thing that gives you pride now. You don't eat food, and he wants food. You see what I mean? This relationship can never work.
Yeah, it's kind of like Stargate asking why you didn't see it in the theater when you did see Star Wars in the theater. It's like, yeah, well, you're both movies, yes, but some might just see greater value, and so I'm gonna see one in the theater and the other on video. That's just how it goes.
That's true. Also, wars are more fascinating than gates. Everybody wants to see a war. Who cares about a gate? Like literally
Finally,
nobody.
It's been spoken. It's been stated. Oh, God, I've really been holding on to that grudge for 30 years. Finally got to air it out about Stargate. So
don't worry. They'll bring in some Brady Bunch and some Alice references in this episode. So we could just get to go all the way back.
That's right. So Chase is like, well, I thought Danny and I had a mutual agreement that we weren't going to put any labels on this, and I don't feel like I can commit to pursuing a relationship with anybody that I've known for 2 weeks. So I'm about to go to Gibraltar for 16 weeks, and Danny's going to Australia and then South Africa. So although Danny's great, I'm not changing my plans. I don't fucking know. This is fucking hard. I want to throw my chair. I'm like,
So did they make? What did you say?
I was going to say, it's actually not hard and it's incredibly easy. You don't have to throw a chair. You can just say, bye.
Yeah, just say no.
This is when I totally encourage ghosting. You could be like, hey, I'll call you when I get to Gibraltar. Bye. And then never again.
You can't ghost Danny. Danny is one of those. She's like an exorcist. Like she will chase the ghost until the ghost leaves the house. You can't. You can't. She'll be like, "Don't you like me? I thought you liked me. Aren't I pretty? I'm thin now. I'm thin." So yeah, you can't really ghost her. But I don't remember them making an agreement that they wouldn't take it. I mean, I know they don't show everything. They do kind of show everything on camera. At least you hear everything on camera. You hear a lot of slap, slap, slap. So you hear all that. So I would have assumed they would have put in the like, let's agree never to speak of this again, toots.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. We've watched enough of these shows to know exactly what type of person Danny is. Danny is the one who says, I just love flirting with guys. I mean, I'm keeping it casual. Like, it's just, I love to flirt. Like, it's nothing serious. Like, don't worry about me. I'm a cool girl. Like, we can have sex. It's fine. Like, I don't get feelings. Like, I'm so not attached. Okay, now can we date for 4 months? I mean, she is the person who puts on the front. Like, she does not get attached. And that's actually deeply what she wants to get attached so badly. I mean, we rag on her so much, mainly because she's incredibly annoying. But like, even with her being annoying, you can see that this is a lonely person.
She's like a button. She doesn't make any sense unless she's attached. Otherwise, you're like, what's that circle with holes in it? You know, it just doesn't make sense in her own mind for her not to be attached. But what about all the other buttons?
Star button. Sequel to Stargate.
Button gate.
Star button. Button gate button.
A button is just a gate. A shut gate.
She is I think she's an aspiring button. I think she's a free hanging button, which is what is so frustrating for her. Because I mean,
she's an open road.
Frustrated than a button that's just attached to nothing, just floating, dangling, and you push it, and the button just sways in the wind.
I hate a weak button. You know, I bought something from J. Crew, which for me is like going to Givenchy. Okay, Givenchy. Like, I would never spend $50 on a shirt because, you know, my ass is cheap. I'm a Russ Dress for Less / Old Navy kind of a boy. But I got something from J. Crew. Can I tell you that button was dangling within 2 days? Within 2 days, man, 2 days. And I was like, you know what? This is overrated. I'm going back to my Old Navy buttons. I need children to be sewing on my buttons. I need children who are forced to work to sew on my buttons. They're the only ones who know how to sew on a button these days.
Do they? Do you have the shirt with you here in New York?
No.
Oh, I would have fixed the button for you.
Oh, that's so nice. But then I don't like that because that's mixing friendship with button emergencies. And then what if the button dangled again? I would be like, I think it would cause a rift in our friendship because I wouldn't want to tell you how much your button sucks, but I wouldn't.
This would be all on you because I wouldn't. If my button sucked, I would just retie it on again. Because I learned how to sew buttons by watching a video on YouTube by someone named Professor Pincushion, and she berates you. Like you never think you could be berated in 4 minutes of watching how to make a button, but she has this oversized button. And what she does is she has a big button so you can really see how to do it. She goes, okay, we are going to pull the needle through the hole and then back in. And we'll do this 4 times, around and around and around the shank. And then you put it in. And then you just feel like you have done something totally wrong and you're in detention. And Professor Pincushion is reprimanding you. It's great. It's a great way to learn.
Yeah, it sounds horrifying. So Danny is like, well, it just sucks to think that I've probably romanticized this whole relationship in my head. You know, he lives there, I live here, now we can't be together. Oh, I mean, come on. I just want to go eat a tub of ice cream in bed and not talk to anybody. And I was like, oh my God, that's what I'm doing. It's a better life. You know? Like, come to my side. It's a way better life, honey.
Yeah, and also, by the way, there's like long distance dating, and then there's long distance dating. And lady, you are in the second camp there. I'm sorry, it is just not sustainable to be an entire world apart. Okay, it's just not going to work
Australia is
out.
too far, you guys. Australia is
Yeah,
literally Stargate. Like it's so far, and I don't mean
you
inferior
have to
to
take
Star
it. You have to
Wars.
take a Stargate to
I
get there.
just mean it's just so far, you guys. It's you're right. It's like a 24-hour flight, and then it's like a day behind us or a day ahead of us, and it's just like you're in the future, and it's just too much. It's not like going from Cincinnati to like I don't know, where's close to there, like Alaska or something. I do
Yeah,
that mostly because Alaska just has so many men who just need something because they work on oil rigs. They're so starved for attention. God bless it. I'm
yeah.
moving.
But you're like, but I'm gonna stay in Cincinnati and make them work for it.
Also, I don't think I could date anybody in Alaska because I think my nuts would always be so shriveled. What's the point? I would just always look so inferior anyway because I'm just cold down there. Never mind.
Yeah.
Bye, Alaska. It was a nice dream.
I don't know. I think Alaska could actually be a really good match for you. Now that I think about it, I say this as someone who's never been there, but
Really?
has. Yeah, I think that Alaska could be like a real. It's cold. I think, but I think that like. I mean, I know you don't love cold. I think you hate cold,
No.
right? You hate
Well,
cold,
yeah. I mean,
but
I
you'd
like
stay
cold
inside.
clothes. I like wearing cute sweaters.
Yeah,
Mostly
that's
just
the
because I
thing.
have a
Because you would
muffin
just,
top, though.
but you would just stay inside, where you'd be warm, so that's
That's
okay.
true. Yeah.
And I feel like you wouldn't be bothered by anyone. You'd have these mountain men with various sexual urges that need to be taken care of. And then, like there'd be like cool nature things that you would like. You'd be like, Ben, I saw an eagle today and it was flying. It was so cute. And I'd be so happy for you because there'd be all these animals that you'd be so like. People may not realize this. Ronnie loves animals and he loves animal videos. And it's like not crazy when we're traveling together that I look over and he's looking at a video from the dodo of like a chick like walking into a supermarket. And so I just think Alaska may be perfect for you.
I don't know. It looks cold. I mean, how hard would it be to get to a Home Goods? I feel like it would be really hard in Alaska.
I think that could be more difficult unless you live in an urban area, but I don't think the urban areas are that urban. So I still think like I assume an Alaskan urban area is the same as like a California remote city.
Hmm.
So I think you'd be okay.
It's far. Okay, so now Daisy's checking in with ML, Mary Louise, or Matcha Louie, whatever her name is. And she's like, all right, this evening, we're going to do family style. And the lady's like, well, the only thing I really need is to get a heads up on what we're going to eat because, someone's gluten free, someone's seafood free, someone's dairy free, someone's taste free. Someone literally doesn't have any taste buds on her tongue. So I'm going to need an interpreter to come out and just really describe to her saliva glands what she's eating so she can really feel that go down. I hope that's not too much trouble for you. Oh, fuck, you're all a pain in the ass. I say give these old ladies a loaf of bread with tuna fish on it and get them over it, Put them in the tank where they have to get over all this shit because this is crazy.
Yeah, I agree. And Daisy's like, well, I'll check with Glois to make sure I know who can eat what. And so even though I tried to train her, it's shocking that Diana is still really making simple mistakes. And it's incredibly concerning because with all these dietary restrictions, there really is no room for error.
Sure,
So,
there is. I say you just do a survival of the fittest on their asses. You know what I mean? At some point, thin the herd. I'm sick of the herd complaining about every fucking food allergy in the world. And listen, I know that there are some real food allergies. I come from a food allergy family, so I have to deal with this shit all the time. But you don't all have it. You know what I mean? Like when my sister's dog, she has two dogs, and when they both came down with food allergies, I was like, okay, this is officially in your head. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like too much. Too
Yeah,
much.
yeah. Well, I just say offer up complimentary EpiPens at the table and just say, if your throat starts to claw up, just please use your EpiPen and enjoy the rest of your meal. Thank you very much.
They just need to start making flavored EpiPens so that people don't get offended. Like, well,
Yeah.
we've given you a chocolate EpiPen surprise on your side, just in case you need it.
They should make, I think that like, I say this as someone who thankfully does not have any allergies, knock on wood, because you never know when you're going to develop one. But I feel like EpiPens just seem like such a unpleasant thing to have to go through. I mean, it's probably the allergy is probably even more unpleasant to go through. But I wonder if they made like the EpiPen experience more pleasant, if that might be that might help. Like where you don't have to be jabbed with a needle, you could just have like a lovely cocktail, like an EpiPen cocktail. I'd be like, hold on one second, my throat's closing up. Let me just grab me some of my Epi juice. There we go. I don't know why it's Daisy in this case, but
Epi juice. Well, I think that would make it more comfortable if Daisy was there. Everybody wants Daisy at their bedside when they're, about to die from some kind of overdose, because she'll just stand there and just be like, take the EpiPen. Take it, girl.
I have heard that when you,
it'll hurt less than Daisy.
I've heard that when you have like an allergic reaction, it kind of takes you out for the day. So that sounds unpleasant. So
yeah, it does sound unpleasant. I'm just saying, like, it's too much. You know what I mean?
I know,
you get
but like there's some
you get one per friend group. I say you get one food allergy and one vegetarian/vegan per friend group, and the rest of you have to sit in the back seat. You know what I mean? Like, there's only so many seats in the front seat, so the rest of you don't get hurt. That's it.
Well, I think there's a difference between allergy versus intolerance. And so like an allergy will kill you and intolerance will just make your life miserable for a few hours, right? So there's that element too. So I say make some people miserable for a few hours. Just don't kill anyone and then you'll be okay.
Yeah. So then Daisy's like, I'll check with Glois to make sure that I know who can eat what. But she knows that it's Deanna's fault because it was Deanna. Like, Deanna didn't know anybody's name. He told her, go serve Annie. And she's like, who's Annie? He's like, go serve Karen. They all look like a Karen. So she does. It's her fault.
It's
and
like, ma'am,
Daisy
you're
knows.
on a super yacht. Yeah, you got to know faces, and you got and if you're dealing with foods that like when people have allergies, like all joking aside, when people have allergies and intolerances, you got to know what's what. And she's acting like, well, it's not my fault that they look the same, and like it literally is your fault because they don't look the same. I mean, yes, they are of the same generic category of people, but like you got to pull up a little bit, ma'am.
And then downstairs, Deanna is talking to Danny. And of course, it's about work. Just kidding. It's about a man, because what else would Danny talk about? So Deanna's like, what did he say to you? And she's like, oh, well, he's upset that I wasn't fully honest about Anthony. But you know what? I don't need to be yelled at. Why am I constantly being yelled? He did not yell. Chase doesn't yell, No. I mean, he was kind of a dick, but he did this. I don't know. I live in one place. I'm going to the Rock of Gibraltar. You're going. That's not yelling, Danny.
I think that she talked about Daisy yelling at her because Daisy was like, Danny, how about with the table? So she's like, well, everyone gave me shit for it, and then I got screamed at. I don't know. You never know with Danny. She does bend the truth a little bit.
No, I think you're right. I think that she was talking about Daisy. I just don't read the whole thing, just like my life. And I'm like, oh my God, the tax people called me just to be nice today. They said, welcome. Like, I didn't read the rest of the letter where they're like, you're going to prison unless you send us money. I was just like, they're so nice. What a sweet greeting. But yeah, I think it was Daisy. But Daisy didn't yell at you either. She said, please get back to work, Goyles.
Yeah. Well, Danny is the type of person who sees aggression in things that are her own fault, and that's another element to her annoyingness. She's such a multifaceted, annoying person. It's really impressive. Her annoyingness.
She's a jack of all annoyances.
Yeah, she really has so many different ways she can be annoying in any given scene. So then Daisy is talking to Clois, and she's like, well, they're fine with the family style, and Glenn's going to be joining them as well. And Clois is like, well, it's going to be all sushi style. It's going to have to flow pretty fucking fast, though.
Sushi just can't get cold. And so Glenn is going to join the ladies. So he's like, well, not to add to it, but if I'm going to eat, I can't have seafood because I get a nasty fishy taste in my mouth. You know why? Because you're eating fish.
Yeah.
That's what fish does. It's like complaining that you get some chocolate in your mouth when you eat an M&M. That's what they do, sir.
Yeah, it's an allergy. And Clois is like, well, there's another guest that can't eat seafood either, so I'm going to do a ribeye steak sushi. And then Glenn is like, okay, bullshit. Well, you're my best friend for life. So
What does a ribeye steak sushi mean? He's going to cook the steak, right? And then just
and then
like
he
cut it up
slices
and
it
put
up.
it in some rice.
Yeah.
But then
Serve
you're
it
only
like
getting
sushi.
4 pieces of ribeye. I think people can take that when they're getting fish and they're like, oh, that 4 pieces of fish was delicious. But you can't give a red-blooded American 4 bites of steak. I mean, I'm from Texas. You can be hung for that.
Well, guess what? Glenn is Canadian, so it works out.
That's true. Good point. Touche. So Cloyce is like, whoa, there's so many dietary restrictions. I've never come across it. And he goes over them. And then he's like, the only thing to do is laugh, bang my head, and innovate.
Or make steak sushi. So
I was going to say, waiting
wait
for the innovation to drive through town.
yeah. So now they're all getting ready, and Cloyce is just going through, like, everything is, he's got to deal with all these food things, so he's dealing with all of that, and he's having Chase help him squeeze out some, like, wasabi, and Chase is like, cool, looks like dog dookie.
Chase just wants to get away from Danny. He's like, please, let me hide in here. I'll do anything you want. Please. Just
And of
let
course
me
she comes lingering around, so he's like pretending to focus really hard on the wasabi and just deeply annoying. Deeply annoying is what she is, but he's deeply ignoring her with the wasabi making.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like wasabi disses. That's so sad.
Yeah.
He's trapped there, and she's like, oh, love your little snowman that you're making with your wasabi. And he's just ignoring her. She's like, they get that in Australia, which you would know because you won't come visit me there like you went to visit Alicia. Look, I'm making 2 little wasabis with you. They're coming closer together. Oh, my God, they're getting married. Oh, they're together. Baby wasabis are coming out. He's like, please, please just leave me alone, mama.
He's like, did your wasabi happen to sleep with the ginger? Yes, it did happen. I was afraid you'd judge the wasabi for it, but now I'm being honest with you about it. So, Cloyce is like, oh man, there's so many dietary restrictions to follow. And Daisy's like, Cloyce, just so you know, I've been instructed to go ahead with dinner without the primary. Because ML has like passed out. And ML told her friends she told Tony, her friend Tony, that they can just start without her. So Tony's like, we're going to eat dinner, guys. So
I love Tony. Every time I hear Tony, I'm like, when did that dude show up? I love her. We're gonna eat without ML. Fuck her. I'm hungry and we're gonna eat. It's like, yes, Hagrid. Eat that food.
Yeah. She's great. Breakout star of the episode.
She really is. I feel like she has a necklace made out of beef jerky somewhere in her luggage. There, I said it.
Yeah, she probably has also a lot of seashell decor in her house in a way that's kind of fun.
She has beef jerky and seashell decor in her house.
Yeah.
That's her thing.
Yeah, anything a pirate might have, I guess.
So now it's time to present dinner. And she's got tuna and salmon rolls. And then we've got salmon, which Karen and Janine can't have, you losers. Do you want me to remove ML's plate setting? And Glenn's like, hopefully she'll come up soon. She's such a charmer.
So she's serving the food, and everyone's like very happy with it and everything. And Glenn's like, "This is the perfect way to cap off the season." No, the perfect way to cap off the season were if we were eating this in a cave, but this is as close as we can get. So this is really good. And what he does as a chef, it's not something that many 22-year-olds are doing. I'm very impressed.
No offense to Cloyce, because I really do think Cloyce has been a really good sport this season, and he's done a fairly good job, don't you think? I mean, despite his congressman hair, I think he's done a good job. But he just served chicken fingers. I mean, like he served some little chicken fingers with some sauce poured on, and he's like, "Here's your very special meal." I don't know that I'd be like sending him off to. I don't know. I was trying to think of a famous chef place that you send people to, but I wouldn't send him there.
To the Cordon Bleu, like Bocuse d'Or or the Cordon Bleu. Yeah, he seems like he does like a nice job. He does nice food. So
it's better than me. At this point, I just give him fruit roll-ups and tell him to fuck off.
Yeah. So they're all happy. Glenn is happy. And ML comes up and she sort of drifts into doorways and finally makes her way up to the table. And
I loved when she ran into that door. But
Yeah.
we are all ML at some point in our lives. She's just been wasted all day. She slept, but she knew there was food being served, and she ran straight into the door and just went, "Oh, fuck off!" Like kept walking to the table.
And I don't know what was going on. I don't know if there was stuff beyond sushi that was on the plates, because at one point they show her sitting next to Captain Glenn and she's talking and she has her fork and knife out and she's like aggressively slicing stuff. It's like she's pre-cutting before she eats. But I'm like, aren't you eating sushi? What are you doing over there with your fork and knife?
Yeah. So then it's the last dinner of the night, so everyone's so excited. And then the guests finish dinner and they're like, "Get in your sweating suits, ladies. It's time to jacuzzi."
So they do that, and then Danny and Chase are they're up, and Danny's like, "Are you okay? How do I make you not sad? How do I make you not sad?" Because he is continuing to mope around. He is doing a full power play, which is like, okay, well, she has like a shred of logic about this Alicia thing, because I said I don't do that, but then I did do that in the past. So how can I counter it? I'll just mope until she feels shitty about herself,
So
and then I
annoying.
will win the argument. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry for all that ass you got this season, sir. It must be so rough on you. And I don't like Chase pretending like he's never heard of a girl that wants a little bit more after giving it up every single night, or like, being with somebody every single night. He's like, "What? I've never heard this before. Girls want something more." And it's not just girls, anybody. I think if you're like having sex with somebody a lot and like you start getting close with them, it's not weird to be like, "What are we doing after this?" He's just such a I hate, the thing that bugs me the most about him is just that he pretends to be nice. I almost respect people like Gary Moore, who are just complete shitheads and then apologize like 5 days later once they've sobered up, than just pretending to be a nice guy. Like, "Oh, shucks, I'm real close with my mama," and then fucks you over the whole time and makes you feel crazy. Like, Danny's a lot of things, but this is not in Danny's head, I don't think.
Yeah. He is moping around and he's doing some manipulation right now. I'm sorry, because nothing about that situation requires 24 hours of moping. It's actually been like 2 days or so. It's been since before the charter started, right? Because she told him about the guy in bed. So that was in between charters, and he's just been moping the entire time. Listen, if she's enough to mope over, then she's enough to fucking date across the world. How about that? So no wonder why she's getting these mixed emotions, right? Because if you have someone who is like acting like he cares enough about you that his feelings would be this hurt for 2 days straight, but then at the same time he doesn't want to go like try a long distance relationship. Like, in some ways I can really understand why she's actually all confused by him, because like, if it's nothing serious, then why all the moping?
Because he's doing the final ass grab without having to claim any responsibility, where he can mope and act like he's been wronged and say, "I can't do long distance thing," and then make her feel so bad that he gets to have sex the whole last night and then still dump her at the end and then leave, making her feel like she's the guilty one, because he's manipulative. He's a fucking asshole.
Yeah, it's his exit strategy. This is how he can build up an excuse and still be the good guy for not wanting to see her after it's done, because
He's going to have his cake and eat her cake too.
Yeah, he's like, "I would have done it, but then you lied to me, so now I can't trust you enough to see you around the world."
Yep. There you go. So she's just like, "Big dog, big dog. My vibe was so low today. I just need you to know that." And he's like, "Same, but everything's good. Gotta love my mama." And she's like, "I want to believe you, but your face says otherwise." His face always says otherwise. His face looks like, "I just smelled my own fart and it's not as bad as everybody else's." It's like that half smile. He's like, "It wasn't great, but it could be worse."
Yeah. And she's like, "No, this is I'm just telling you what you want to hear face." And he's like, "No, tomorrow's going to be good." He goes, "Look, I really do care about Danny. I really like Danny. I can't stress that enough. I mean, part of me needs to figure out how to make resolution. I really want to end the season on a good note. But that being said, I don't want to lead her on. What do? You say, "I'm not going to lead you on. This is fun, but it's not going beyond the boat." Bloop, it's done.
Yeah. Stop sticking your dick in her constantly and then patting her on the ass every day and, flirting with her every day. That's how you don't lead her on.
Yeah.
Dummy. So then the crew wakes up and they're excited because it's the last day of charter. And, the guests, of course, want their breakfast. So they get breakfast, gluten-free
Yeah.
French toast for you, or as the French call it, da, stupid.
And everyone likes this breakfast. And then the deck team starts to haul anchor. They're going back into the port. And Danny and Diana are like, moaning and groaning down in the cabins. And Diana's like, telling me everything. I don't think Diana cares at all about Danny and and Chase. I think at this point, she is. I think Diana is doing a test to see how much can Danny talk about herself and her boy issues before she asks me a single question. And Diana's like, I can't believe it. We made it to the end of the season and Danny still has not asked me a single question. Well, I'm going to ask her a few more questions and then that's it. Then we'll know she will never ask me a question about myself.
I'd normally agree with you on that, but Deanna just seems like she's totally in with Danny now. There's no eye rolling. She doesn't really care. She actually, wouldn't say she's genuinely interested, but I don't know. She just still keeps doing the work. And guess what Danny does? Not the work. She just stands there kind of leaning on the doorway talking about boys, which is all she ever does. And Deanna doesn't seem annoyed, which is kind of why I don't like Deanna. I liked her in the beginning. When she was like, oops, I love cleaning toilets. It's my favorite thing. Ever since I cleaned Putin's toilet, I've never seen poo-poo like this. But now she's just like, ooh, poop is disgusting on toilets. You just loved it a second ago. And she used to hate Danny and her stupid, grubby ways with all the guys on the boat. And now she's just like resigned to it and hates Daisy. I don't get it.
Yeah, I think that Danny has been like a toxic force on this boat, at least in this department. And I think that Deanna just kind of like gave herself over to it finally. I think that she really wanted that extra hour of sleep so that way she could get 9 hours of sleep on her shift instead of 8 hours, and she didn't get it and she's mad. And so she just flipped sides because it's actually easier to be mad to be mad along with someone than to not be. And so it's more fun if you have a little ally and you can both hit your boss together. And I think she realized that. She's like, you know what? Why am I can either be disgusted by Danny or I can join her and just be mad at Daisy. And that's what she did. And I kind of lost all respect for Deanna too. I think we both started to lose it when she complained about not being on service enough, and she didn't know how to make drinks. So Daisy was like, "Okay, we're gonna do a drink seminar," and then Deanna made like one drink, and then was exasperated and walked away. And it's like, this entire seminar was for you, and you wanted this education, and now you're walking away. You're kind of a spoiled brat, and we let her off easy because Danny was the bigger spoiled brat. But now at this point in the season, Deanna's a spoiled brat too.
Yeah, Deanna sucks. So, Danny's going on about Chase and always like, why are you so sad? Because you're a stalker. Okay, baby reindeer? Like, take a rest. Leave the man alone. Give the man some space. Can a man squirt out some wasabi in peace? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. My God, the woman can hear wasabi being squirted out from a mile away. And she's like, always like, are you sad? And he stopped being sad. And then he was better. And Deanna's like, so, conclusion. Well, seeing each other is definitely going to be hard, even if he's not. I'm not leaving here thinking like, oh my God, Chase and I are dating. Like, I'm leaving here, oh my God, I hope Chase and I are dating. God, mate, you see the difference? Huge difference.
Meanwhile, Daisy, who is doing all this breakfast work upstairs by herself, is like, girls, can someone help me with the juices? And Danny rolls her eyes like it's this incredibly ridiculous, obscene request to make. And it's like, ladies, you got to do the juices. It's breakfast. It's like every other charter.
And Deanna goes, what the fuck? It's like just the work, bitch. Why aren't you telling that to Danny, who's standing there at the doorway talking about some dude? I mean, at this point, Daisy should just get on the radios and go, guess what? There's fresh penises up here to squeeze, and just watch her run up there.
Yes.
So Glenn is checking in with Gary, and Gary's like, oh, thanks for another season, Cap. This is 3 days later where you get my apology, because that's how I work. So I'm sorry about all my, giving you gray hairs, or more gray hairs than you already had. Good
well,
person,
one more day, dude, and then you're going to be making the same kind of decisions. And it was, well, one day, dude. And Gary's like, no, I know, 100% blah. And Glenn's like, it's not easy. Conditions are pretty good, and it's a good opportunity. And if I'm wondering if you want to have a go at the parking, you want to park the boat, big guy? And he's like, oh, Glenn, I would love to. You're going to be here next to me, Daddy? And he's like, yeah, I'll be right here with you, Gary.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, I'm so glad to learn from you, dear leader, dear captain. Oh, you're going to make me cry, dude. So they go, he lets him move the steering wheel and all that stuff like your dad does when you're a kid and he pretends that you're really driving. And Gary does
Yeah.
great. I will say that they give him a very easy docking because this isn't one of those ones that's like, uh-oh, guys, we're going to have to get this in within 3 inches of our lives. This one's pretty wide open, but still, he does it well,
Yeah.
I guess. So
Yeah.
that's great. Good for you, Gary.
He does. And Gary's like, well, this hasn't been the most smoothest season for me, so it feels good knowing that he believes in me despite all my hiccups. I'm like, your hiccups? Okay, that's what we're going to call it. Well, there's a little bit of nerves, but seeing Glenn trust me like this is a massive boost of confidence, and I think Glenn believes in me very much so. Blah, 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 blah.
And as Gary successfully makes the boat into the dock without even grabbing the ass of another boat, I mean, it's pretty impressive. Captain's like, one day he's going to be captain. He's going to have to mature, but that's up to him. That's all in his control. So then ML's like, everything was great. I just want Tony to do this speech. Tony, she's like, it was like awesome. You definitely made us happy. But if you want your daughter back before the dawn, you'll put $10,000 in a bag and leave it at the Dillard's entrance. Call any police and you'll die.
Daisy's like, give me back my daughter. I mean, if Daisy were ever to reboot a movie, it would be Ransom. She would be great in that role of Mel Gibson.
Doesn't Tony's voice sound like one of those Ransom, like those
100%.
voice disguisers in Ransom movies?
Like Tony is on the local news and has been like witnessed some sort of like mob hit and is like, I don't want to be known. Please don't show my identity.
Exactly. Like you can tell it's a wig even in shadows. It's like a big wig hanging off the head. Glenn's like, I opened the envelope, but it's just a bunch of letters cut out of magazines to form words. Figured that out later.
So Daisy tells us, this season was such a battle for me. I wish my relationship with the girls had been like what I've seen with so many other schools. I struggle to manage their attitude and the toxic environment they've created. It's a shame that we couldn't have supported each other and helped each other grow and evolve and be better together. And then we also see, a little montage of previous stews that Daisy worked well with. It was just kind of like, it was like a moment of, see, Daisy can lead stews. So really it's the stews who have the issues, not Daisy, which I liked. I liked production, kicking in for Daisy there.
Yeah, because these stews truly suck. So then it's tip meeting time, and we had our struggles for sure, but I don't think we had any major issues on deck. Everyone, Daisy, you took a lot on. Cloyce, hate your haircut, but you did great. And here's our final tip, $21,000, which is crazy. That's a good one. They had some pretty good tips this season, except for Contessa.
Worst tip of the season. So now they're all getting ready to go out and everything, and Daisy's like, she's like, all right, Gary, Keith, and Cloyce, any predictions for tonight? And Gary's like, well, I think that you and Keith are going to hook up, blah, blah, sad, blah, blah, and I think that Danny and Chase are going to have an argument.
And Chase is like, well, I sure did really enjoy meeting all of you. I hope one day you can meet my mama. And Deanna's like, we are so happy you came aboard. Maybe one day you can, especially Danny. Look at how happy Danny is. Oh, my God. And then they go order. And, of course, Daisy and Keith go have a cigarette. Keith has grown on me. I like Keith. I'd take him.
Yeah.
I should be so lucky.
I think that in the first half of the season, when Keith and Danny were flirting, it was, I think Danny gets her taint on everything. And so Keith just, it's annoying to watch Danny. So then watching someone flirting with Danny is like also unpleasant. And Keith is kind of like, he's like a subtle flavor. And so, she kind of there's something about it where we just saw him as just like bland, like a bland piece of white bread. But then when he started getting interested in Daisy, I feel like we started to see more of like who he was as a person. And I enjoyed that.
No, I think we were correct. He's a bland piece of white bread, but I love white bread. Like I eat it all the time. And so maybe that's why I like him. He just seems so like edible at 3 a.m. You know what I mean? Like it's always there for
Yeah.
you. Just put a little cheese in it. Also, he just seems like a very supportive husband. He seems like he would
Yeah.
just always be there for you and be very supportive, you know? And then he'd always let you want to watch what you want to watch on TV.
Yeah, he would. Even if he's definitely a husband who would watch The Real Housewives with his wife.
Yeah.
To support her.
Yeah, but then he'd like have the respect to still watch a game on his phone, you know, with earbuds at the same time so he could still maintain some sexual attraction.
He's great.
He's perfect. I love him. And he's spinning show tunes. And he talks with his arms. And he winks.
Yeah. So, basically, Daisy's like, so I think London for the moment is where home will be, and I love where I live. If you come to my apartment, it's down a suburban road. You go there, and it's just so nice. I love it. I love my suburban road in London. And Keith is like, yeah, we'll have to catch up when next time I'm there. She goes, well, you're welcome to London anytime. As the ambassador to London, as the person who controls who comes in and out of the city, I'd like to formally invite you to London.
I may not control London, but I control the suburban road. Because I just picture Daisy standing at the entrance of the suburban road with a rolling pin that she's just kind of slapping in her hand. Like, who's gonna come here? Mailman, prove it.
I'm still just trying to conceptualize Daisy's suburban road. Like she's like, I'm in an apartment at the end of a suburban road. I'm like,
I imagine like a lot of cats on top of trash cans.
What do the suburbs look like also in the suburbs of London? Because I just feel like they can't look like the suburbs of America. American suburbs have a very distinct look, a distinct and generic all at once. And I wonder, does that really carry over to British suburbs? I feel like they have to have like their own different vibe.
I don't know. I have no idea. We should go check them out.
Yeah, let's do it.
Next time we're there, just to see if we can see Daisy standing there with a rolling pin as cats like playing on top of trash cans. That's how it is in my head.
You can't get by.
So Danny is like, Gary, would you say that you're the type that love relationships? Like you a relationship boy? You're talking to Gary. What? Who even asked Gary that? What a stupid question. And Gary's like, I love relationships. I love them. I love them.
You can, by the way, tell as soon as she asked that question to Gary in front of Chase, you know that she's up to something. So then Chase is like, well, I'm not really looking for a I'm sorry. He goes, I'm actually really looking for a relationship too, but I've rushed into things before and it's hurt me. I'm like, oh God.
Shut up.
Sir, shut up.
Shut up.
You're the one who hurt people.
But also, they're just both so gross. Like Danny and Chase are just both so deeply annoying. Because what does Danny think she's doing? Oh, I'm just going to bring up a casual relationship to see if Gary likes relationships. Because if he likes relationships, maybe Chase will want a relationship with me, trying to be like Gary. Like, you're so sad, Danny. Oh my God.
Yeah. So she goes, well, I'm obviously looking for someone that I want to share my life with. And like, I don't have like a lot. I moved overseas by myself and I'm like looking for some sort of normalcy and hopefully that would come in the form of a partner. And as soon as I found that person that always seems to find like, they always find that excuse of distance, which I've heard like multiple times in my life. And like currently Chase is the thing that's like making me very happy. And I'm like so ready to move across the world for Chase. I'm like, she's saying this stuff all in front of Chase's face to Gary. It's the weirdest thing.
It really is weird. Also, his name isn't like a welcome invitation to just chase him constantly. And if you are constantly in relationships where people come up with an excuse to move out of the country, you should probably start wondering if it's a you thing.
Thank you.
You know?
Thank you.
Well, come on.
Yeah.
And so he's like, and do you, Chase, what do you think about relationships? And Deanna's like, oh my God, stop putting him on spotlight. And Gary's like, I'm not. It's just good to express your feelings, man. And he's like, Danny, you want to go to the bathroom?
She's like, I do need to pee, yeah. So they go off, and Gary's like, well, I don't think either of them knows what they want, TBH. To be honest. And Diana's like, too soon. They'll figure it out. So then Keith is sitting next to Daisy and just, they're just sort of chatting or whatever. And then Daisy's like, all right, everyone, what are we cheers unto? And Davide is like, Glois for Presidente. So they cheers or whatever.
Here's to being the best version of ourselves. Cheers. So then they get into the taxis and they head back to a club. And Danny's like, "Oh, I don't want to share a taxi with Daisy. What a bitch!" And then Danny whacks Deanna in the
I
head
think
with
we
her.
missed this. Yeah, by the way, I think we missed a scene in here, which it's
What
not
was
in
it?
here, but when Chase and Danny went to the bathroom, they had a whole scene where Chase is like, "I don't want to be mad at you anymore. Can't we go back to the way it was 2 days ago when we were besties on the boat?" She's like, "That's what I want," and then they make out, and everything is fine. So the reason why I mentioned it is that they've now had a full reset, and everything is fine and resolved with them. It was the end of their storyline.
Yeah, we knew that was going to happen when he asked her to go to the bathroom. Like
Yeah.
you get a drink into a man, I swear to God, and they're like, "Not mad anymore. My dick's hard, so let's ride it while we can. This ain't gonna
Yep.
last long." So then Daisy and Keith are talking in the taxis, and he has heard the girls bitching about her all night, right? So she's like, "Did you enjoy your dinner?" And he's like, I'm not trying to be a snoop, but what I'm very interested in is the conversation between Gary, Chase, and Danny." And she's like, "I don't know. I can't keep up with it. Those girls are nasty. And as far as I'm concerned, I like you. You don't like me. You haven't liked me from day one. That's fine. Let's see who's back next year, dumbasses."
Yeah, exactly. So then, and Jace is like, "Hey, I'm gonna name you, I'm gonna crown you queen, Danny." And Danny is like, "Queen of the interior, because I actually do my fucking job." And Diana's like, "Oh, shots fired." And then Gary's
When?
like,
When do
"Well,
you do your job? We've seen you leaning on doorways and complaining about men 90% of your season. The only time I ever got an inkling that you gave a fuck about your job was when you cried about tablescapes because it was your art."
yes, yes, that's exactly right. That's the only time she showed any passion for anything. So Gary's like, "Well, but she's Chief Stew at the end of the day." And Danny's like, "Yeah, but she's shit at it. No offense, she's a shit Chief Stew." And by the way, Gary, who in a few moments is about to basically profess his love for Daisy, how about he then like actually stands up for the person that he apparently loves so much and say, "Actually, I've been working with Daisy for 3 or 4 years now, and she does a great job. And you two are the only ones that have caused her any problems. Why not that? Like, why not
Guess
just
he
like throw
doesn't
it back at
really.
them?"
He's only going for plot lines and a last minute redemption because he got in trouble in the season and he has nobody else to be with because he's all sad and washed up and sandpapery. And he's just trying to get a good edit by pretending he still likes Daisy, which I love that she's on to, by the way. It's so funny that
Yes.
she's like, "Shut the fuck up, Garrett." But yeah, he does not care if they talk shit about her because ultimately he's always in competition with everybody and he doesn't like it when Daisy's like getting more accolades than him, you know?
Yeah.
So he's like, "Guys, at the end of the day, she's your boss. Have a level of respect." And Chase is like, "No, you earn respect, Gary. You know, shut up, shackle dropper.
Yeah.
Shackle shit."
Gary's like, "Guys, I don't want to choose sides, but the majority of all this shit is fucking petty. And I'm sorry, I don't want to talk about Daisy unless we're talking about how much I'm in love with her. Oh, Daisy." So Chase is like, he's like, "Yeah, let's go have some fun." So then Danny has yet another complaint. She goes, "Even though we've had our bitch fits, I do feel like Dee and I have definitely bonded over the trauma of working with Daisy.
The
I don't hate
trauma.
Daisy. Yeah. I don't hate Daisy because she's like, oh, she's my boss and this and that. I don't like Daisy because she's a fucking scary, ice cold bitch." Like,
And Deanna's like, "She cannot admit when wrong. She is. I don't respect her. Period." No one respects you either, lady who can't clean toilets properly or serve properly. Like you're a lose-lose. Get the fuck out of here. Get back to the
yeah.
oligarchs. I have no time for either one of you. And the only reason you don't like Daisy is because you don't like being asked to do your job. And I've never heard anybody bitch that they only got 8 hours of sleep. That's literally crazy on a boat.
Never. And I'm glad that she never got those makeup hours because I don't think she ever got them, right? I don't think they ever came through. So I am so glad. I'm so glad that she didn't get her makeup hour from that one time and then the other time. And she will have to always have that debt in her life because it will never be made up. She will always know that she never got it. Never there was never the equilibrium. And it will there never will be.
She'll always have that number missing from her sleep bank.
Yeah, always for the rest of her life because she's not going to work with Daisy again.
She'll always have a deficit. So now they go to the club and do shots, and Keith and Daisy make out, and then Gary's watching as he chain smoke wasted, and he's like, "No, it's easy seeing someone that you care about hooking up with someone else, especially when they're doing it right in front of you all the time."
Well, how do you think all those different people felt when you swept in and like cockblocked them and took the people they were interested in? Huh? So Gary is like, "Oh, Days, that was a tough ride, but I advocated for your side, to be wise of your points of view and how I feel about hierarchy." And she goes, "Oh, do you know how much that means for me?" And she's like, "Yes, and I got laid in too hard, honestly. So I got laid in too hard, which means I think that I deserve to actually get laid myself. So what do you think tonight, top bunk?"
Daisy, I just want us to live a fairy tale life. Yeah, everybody wants their prince fucking drooling at the mouth and wasted and smelling like 10-day-old cigarettes. You fucking gross person. I don't even think he uses rock deodorant. He just seems so gross. And he's like, "Yeah, we've had ups and downs, and then we can get together and live happily ever after. I had serious feelings for you, Daisy. No doubt about that, especially now that I don't have options. Daisy, you are like the last roast beef sandwich on a tray. I may not want to eat roast beef, but I'm drunk, and it's there, so I'm ask you to marry me. Do you understand?" Fuck off, Gary.
"What do you want me to say, Gary?" He's like, "Nothing. You know what? You know what I want you to say? It's absolutely fuck all. Be all good riddance. I liked you from day one because I like the person you are, Daisy."
You've fucked her over 9 million times on this show, sir. 9 million times.
And like, has he even thought about what a relationship with Daisy would look like? A real, true, long-term relationship where they actually get married and have kids. The moment kids enter the picture, Gary is a goner. He is going, first of all, he will definitely be the sort of guy who's going to compete for attention with a child. He's not going to be able to live in that. He will cheat. He will leave. He will get drunk. He will be like beyond a disaster.
Yeah. And he'll like be grabbing the teachers' asses at school. Like, ugh, gross.
He'll be getting wasted at like Labor Day picnics and stuff,
Totally.
Angry drives homes.
Yeah. She's like, "Well, you say this shit, but you never act on it, Gary. You can't just keep saying that stuff, Gary. It hurts me." And then Keith is like, it's all right. It's fine. She's trying to kiss her. And she's like, "Oh, fuck off, you two." So then the crew heads back to the boat. And now Gary, who just wants to live happily ever with Daisy and prove that he's different, is like, "Girls, come to the jacuzzi. Habba-labba-labba."
Yeah, he's just like sad, just trying to catch some strays out there. And then meanwhile, Daisy is just like making out with Keith really hard. She's like, "Ha, finally, a real man." So then everyone goes to bed. And the next day, it's like, it's time for all like our slow series of goodbyes. So Davide, well, first Glenn is like, "What a season, notwithstanding the lollipop fiasco and maybe the drag night drinking, but now you've had a chance to drive, and maybe now is time to start thinking about stepping up, Gary." He's like, "Yes, for sure. I don't want to be mates forever." And he's like, "Yeah, but in your position in the first officer, you're one of the gang, but you have to also separate. You have to separate, and yourself a little bit. You have to start kind of rising out a little bit. Because it's not about friendship; it's about leadership and caves. So you have to set an example, which is really important, Gary."
And then we get Gary's monologue, which is so funny because Gary is acting like he's had a season of sobriety that's been really difficult on him. And he just wants to remind us all how hard he's worked. He's like, "Yeah, I betrayed Captain's trust a bit, but I feel that my problem is maybe with alcohol and my respect towards myself. So I need to work harder and take more responsibility." You were sober for 5 minutes. You don't get this monologue, sir. And I don't want to sit here and have like a cry that Gary's a poor victim of poor alcohol. Alcohol is a victim of Gary. Like everybody around Gary is a victim. I don't want to hear it. Clean it up or don't clean it up. But stop fucking whining and trying to get pity points at the end of the season. I'm not buying it, sir.
Yeah. And then Daisy and Keith sort of say goodbye and everything. And he's like, "Thanks, you've been like a lifeline for me this season." She goes, I know, I was a lifeline. This season was tough." He's like, "Yeah. And last night I was probably drunker than I've ever been." "Well, I'll see you at the end of the suburban road, okay?" also known as Never.
Yeah, poor Keith, because he does seem to like Daisy. And she's like, see you never, loser. So then she's like, when you're younger and you're having fun, you put up with anything. But now I deserve better. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. Maybe Keith and I'll get married and have a baby. Ha, ha, joking. That's mostly not going to happen, but we don't know. And so Gary, of course, interrupts it. He's like, ooh, is there a moment going on here?
He's like, no, I'm glad you came in. So Davide leaves, and it doesn't really matter what he says because he didn't say anything all season.
Gary literally, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Gary ends this love story by going, oh, really? Pull my finger.
He apparently farts really badly, and they all choke. And I was thinking to myself, what does the cameraman do in this situation? Because they all get to put their hands over their mouths. The cameraman just has to sit in the fart.
Well, welcome to being a cameraman. I mean, that's that should be the title of a cameraman book. Sitting in the fart.
Yeah. So Davide leaves, and then Clois he's like, let me see if I can wrap up my time here. So he does what is barely a rap, barely even a poem. It's just him it's worse than you can imagine.
It was cringy. Somewhere, I hope that Collie felt like Eminem.
Yeah.
Collie's sitting at home with
Collie.
giant gold chains on, feeling as street as ever,
Yeah.
You're doing great, Collie. You're doing great.
Keep trying over there, Cloyce. I believe in you.
Thanks, Collie's mom. So I'm going to do everybody a favor and not read his rap. Because
it's so long. That's the problem. It's long and it doesn't have rhythm. It's just sentences that have some rhyming elements to it or vaguely rhyme. It's not his strongest work.
Like his final sushi dinner, it doesn't make a ton of sense. I almost looked up does cringing burn calories? Because maybe I'll do it. But no, I can't do it. So then Chase and Danny say goodbye, and Chase is like, I'm real excited for the next year of my life. After my training course to do my yacht master, I'm going to take my boat to the Caribbean and start a circumnavigation. Wow. And my first baby, I'm going to circumnavigate him too. I don't want any extra navigating on that thing.
So then Diana's leaving, and Diana, and she's like, I came to this boat wanting to have more service experience, and now that I have it, it was more difficult than I thought, but I think I leave this boat being more vocal about what I want and what I don't want. I'm like, no, you're not so vocal. You're just more annoying. When you like someone, go ahead. Don't fucking wait.
Yeah, I'm more vocal about you too at the end of the season, which is weird because at the beginning I was like, oh my God, I like her. And now I'm like, you fucking suck. Go away. I hope you never work again. Sometimes on these shows, I think I feel bad for the people because they come on, they can't get work after this because they're made to look stupid on TV or whatever. But with Deanna, from Danny, I almost you expect this, right? She's immature. She's an idiot. She only cares about boys, all of that. So I kind of expected her to be an idiot. I did not expect it from Deanna, and I actually wanted more I expected more from her, and that she just turned out to be another lazy asshole. Go fuck yourself, lady. I hope you never work again.
Yeah,
you're gross. I hope everybody
you.
you ever apply for watches this show and never hires you again. And may you rot with a gluten allergy. I curse you and your entire family with gluten allergy.
Yeah. So then Keith leaves, and he says he realized that he and Daisy see the world through a similar lens, and he wants to build a connection with someone, and that makes it when you do that, it makes it 100% worth it. So he wants to keep in touch with Daisy for a long time. So he leaves, and then Daisy and Gary leave, and Gary's like, well, Daisy, I definitely feel like there's still something there. There is some hope, and I think that she needs someone that's a bit more stable. Is Keith that person? I don't know. Is anyone that person? Perhaps. Is a stack of tuna fish cans more reliable than I am? Perhaps. But no matter what happens, we'll always be there for each other. Maybe she's the one that got away. Blah. Sad blah. Sad blah. Potentially, she's going to be the one that I marry, I'm quite intrigued to see what the future holds for Daisy and I. Blah, blah.
There kind of is hope for them because Daisy's last monologue is her crying about Gary. We've shared intimacy. We've shared hard times. We've had low times. Danny boy. You know, she's really kind of singing for Gary. But at the end of the day, she's waiting for a library book that by the time it's finally her turn to get is going to be missing so many pages and have like kind of splooge stains all over. It's going to be not readable anyway. So I hope that she can kind of get over this because I think that she really does love Gary, but he sucks. And here's one thing I'm grateful for this, that they didn't let the Stews do that thing where they get to have their moment with Daisy and tell her how much she sucks and how bad she was at her job. You know, because they do that on a lot of seasons where they're like, well, Hannah, I think you're a shit boss. And then. And I'm really glad that they didn't even give them the satisfaction. You know, they're like, nope, they're still losers and they don't get that ending. So bye.
And then we actually got like a nice little post-show update, which is that Gary and Daisy went their separate ways. So Daisy and Keith started dating for like a while, and they gave it a shot for a few months, but then they parted ways. And then Danny and Chase Danny visited Chase on his sailboat in Florida, and then they dated and sailed together for over a year.
I did not see that coming.
I did not see that coming either, but now they've docked their romantic relationship.
Yeah. So, wow, Chase came through. Really didn't see that coming at all. But, you know, good for those crazy kids. Good for them. I'm glad that Danny got a happy ending and then didn't get what she wanted ultimately in the end because she's still an asshole.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, that was a fun season. It's over, and Down Under starts up next week. So the yacht
Down
keeps
Under
on
looks
sailing through.
Very dramatic. Did you see the preview they showed for Down Under? Oh, there's an evil man on there. A beautiful evil man.
So I watched some of the preview, and it didn't seem that crazy to me, but maybe I didn't finish it. I just saw Zarina being like, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm going to try my best. So I was like, okay, sure, sounds good. I mean,
the one I saw was with a very dramatic, like there's a gorgeous 6 foot something hottie, and he's it's kind of returned to below deck form of just having an extremely aggro douchebag on board who just starts punching walls and stuff. Although Chase did punch a pole today. We did see Chase get mad and punch a pole. But this guy seems to lose it and I guess gets fired and stuff. So, yikes.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it looks... Que dramatique. But yeah, we'll be back with that next week. In the meantime, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for being with us on video, whoever's over on Patreon. Go check out Taters. Wouldn't that be awesome if we were just recapping Taters on Patreon? Like today, I had the most amazing tater. It was a Yukon Gold. Traders. Yeah. Traders over on Patreon, and also get tickets for the Golden Crappies streaming experience this Saturday. If you're in New York, come by. We're at Town Hall. There's like maybe 20 tickets left, so get them now because it's going to sell
literally
out.
20. Literally 20 tickets. It's wild.
Yeah, check us out on Watch What Happens Live Thursday night after Southern Charm, and we'll see you in Salt Lake City and Denver next week. And for more show dates, go to watchwhatcrappens.com. We love you guys. Thanks for being here.
Bye.